Hello guys and welcome to another lesson. Today we'll be working on our left-hand legato technique, on our hammer-ons and pull-offs. The exercise I'm going to show you today is pretty basic and simple, but please don't underestimate this one. It will give you many benefits if performed correctly and with a good form. We will be working on left-hand fingers independency, accuracy and time feel. Instead of using the boring metronome, I made a backing track for this exercise. And you can find it along with the tabs for this and many other lessons on my Patreon page. The link is in the description of this video. With that being said, please click that subscribe button and let's get started. The goal of this exercise is to go through different combinations of our left-hand fingers using hammer-ons and pull-offs. Ideally, you want to use only the left hand to perform this exercise, but you can begin by picking the first note on each string. The combinations are 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 4, 2, 3, and 3, 4. We will repeat the first one 4 times on each string before going to the next combination and so on. So let's say the first combination you play 4 times on the first string, then go to the second string 4 times, 4 times on the third, and so on. Then you reach the low E string and go back until you reach the first string again, and then go to the next combination. The pattern is pretty simple, right? We play a hammer-on from nowhere, then hammer-on, pull-off, hammer-on, pull-off, hammer-on, pull-off, hammer-on again, and then move to the next string, and so on. The main things to keep in mind here are: keep your left hand relaxed, avoid unnecessary movements, play with the tips of the fingers, make sure that your time feel and dynamics are solid and consistent. So, the relaxed left hand. It's easier said than done, but try to consciously think about this. Try to always verify whether your left hand is completely or almost completely relaxed, or if you can go further. Avoid applying too much strength while using this technique. Many beginners think that the more power you apply while playing legato, the louder you can get, but honestly, it's all about the right technique and small but fast movements. The next point is to avoid unnecessary movements. Keep the movements of your left-hand fingers under control. You don't need to play like this. This way you're wasting too much energy. You want to keep your fingers as close as possible to the string and the frets you will be playing, and keep your movements as small as possible. So instead of playing like this, you want to keep this like this. So make sure to make smaller movements. And by the way, for this exercise we will be playing in the 5th position. So our index finger is on the 5th fret, second finger on the 6th, the third finger on the 7th, and the 4th finger on the 8th fret. So make sure you're keeping the fingers as close as possible to the strings and your movements are as small as possible. And also, when you practice legato, try to use the classical guitar left-hand positioning. Fingers parallel to the frets instead of this type of playing, and the thumb in the middle of the neck. So try to keep the thumb in this zone of the neck instead of, having your thumb over here or too low. And keep your fingers nice and curved every time you play legato. Now the next point is to play with the tips of the fingers. Another beginner mistake is to use this part of the finger to play hammer-ons and pull-offs, like this. You want to build your accuracy and precision and use the very tips of your fingers instead. Use your calluses. That way you have more control and a cleaner sound. And the next point is good time feel and dynamics. Always make sure to play in time and keep the dynamics under control. It doesn't matter if you're using the metronome or the backing track, always make sure that you're playing in time and that the volume of the notes you're playing is not oscillating. So once again, before we move to the exercise, ideally you want to play this exercise with only your left hand. So let's say for the combination 1-2, you first play with your index finger, you play the hammer-on from nowhere, and then you play the series of hammer-ons and pull-offs. Then you go to the next string, once again, hammer-on from nowhere, and so on. But if you're not still feeling comfortable with this, you can pick the first note, all the first notes on each strings, like this. The same thing applies to the next combinations. Let's say like 4, 2 and 4. Now I'm playing the hammer-ons from nowhere, but you can pick the first notes. With that being said, let's go to the actual exercise. You can find the tabs and 3 different versions of the backing track, slow, normal and faster, by supporting me on my Patreon page. The link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial, guys. If you liked this, please consider subscribing because it helps me a lot. Make sure to check my other tutorials and keep practicing, and see you in my next video.